Hello everybody and welcome back to the Bengals franchise in Madden 2001. We are here at home in our home opener in Paul Brown Stadium. It is a full Paul Brown Stadium. The fans still have hope in this roster, which hasn't changed much, but it is still a good roster. And another roster that hasn't changed much over the years is the one that we were up against today in the Baltimore Ravens. Still led by Tony Banks at quarterback, Jamal Lewis in the backfield, Travis Taylor, Quadre Ismail on the receiving core, and Big Unk Shannon Sharp, of course, is still the tight end with a pretty scary defense to boot. So we stack up pretty well against the Ravens, but we always seem to come on the back end when everything is said and done. So hopefully the season is different. But not much has changed over one quarter of play, as neither team can really strike the iron really at all. But we are here in the second quarter cooking something up as Chris Waller toe drags along the sideline to get a nice first down for this Bengal offense. So we get stopped by the Ravens defense and face a 3rd and long, so we got to get at least 10 to keep the drive alive. Achilles Smith all day to throw, and he uncorks that one, I believe, to Peter Warwick, who can't quite get a clean look at the ball, and that was batted down. So we're going to bring out John Green to attempt his first field goal of the year. I think he was just extended in the last video as well, so he sends this one up and pushes that one wide right. So it's a rare miss that we get to watch in the sim. That one seemed to be pretty makeable for John Green. He normally does hit those, but he pushes that one a little far right. I didn't see the beginning if there was a lot of wind or anything, so I'm not really sure if there's an excuse that we can give him. But regardless, he misses that. So the Ravens are unable to do anything on offense, and so we are cooking once again on offense as Chris Waller picks up another nice gain and gets absolutely sat on his bottom. I believe by Ed Reed. I think that's who laid the lumber down. And so the clock will continue to run for this offense. Achilles Smith not even going to wait for the ref to get out of the way before he snaps it again. And again, Chris Waller with a reception getting his head taken off. I guess that's why he keeps getting injured so much in his career, but with a new contract, maybe he's feeling a little bit tougher all of a sudden. So the time continuing to wind down. Achilles Smith uncorks one across the middle of the field to Sharper, our tight end. And we get just inside of the 10-yard line, and we're going to blow a timeout and most likely give this one to John Green to try and knock through. And now this one is good. No doubts there. That one should be good. It's a 22-yard chip shot. But after a whole half of play, only 3 points from our offense, from either offense, is all to speak of. So the Ravens really struggling to get going out the gate here as Achilles Smith finds, I believe it's Peter Warwick deep downfield for another huge Bengal gain. So our offense is rolling fairly well. We just can't seem to finish off any drives. So Achilles Smith drops back and gives this one to Corey Dillon out the backfield, who turns upfield and gets a nice first down and a little bit more. I haven't seen too much from him today. He has been productive. It's just all of his good run plays haven't really turned into points, so we haven't seen a whole lot of them. A couple plays later, we're going to give it to Sharper across the middle again, who gets absolutely blown up. Huge hits from the Ravens secondary, man. They got a lot of heavy hitters back there, but not before Sharper can make the catch and get another first down. It's a first and goal, actually, so just under 2 minutes left in the third quarter here, and Achilles Smith and the Striped Boys are up trying to get this one into the end zone, and Corey Dillon goes untouched through the middle, straight up the gap into the end zone for his first touchdown of the season. And that is going to do it for the third quarter of play. So the Ravens still, man, just looking for any kind of points. Our defense has held them pretty well. And it looks like they're finally moving here in the fourth quarter. Now that time is of the essence. Tony Banks moving way, way back and uncorks an absolute monster of a pass. I believe to Shannon Sharp, who hauls that one in. And I don't know how. I mean, he dropped back about probably 15 yards. Man, that was a crazy pass. So we hold them to a third down. So we have to come up with a stop here. Tony Banks in shotgun formation, pump fakes, and he finds, I believe it's Quadre Ismail who makes the catch and gets the Ravens' first touchdown of the season. And so now this game has gotten infinitely closer. A 10-point lead isn't really enough to rest on, even though the Ravens haven't done much of anything across 3 quarters. So we're going to need to do something here to clinch this game. But with under 2 minutes left to go, we're trying to run some clock out. And on a 3rd and 4, the Ravens defense comes up pretty big, so they're going to get another opportunity with the football. Just 44 seconds left to go, so we got a decent enough punt, or I think it might have been a touchback. So from the 20, the Ravens are going to have to scale the field here, and it's a huge reception by Taylor. to get the Ravens in Bengal territory with just 30 seconds now left to go. Time is still continuing to roll. They don't have any timeouts, so they're going to have to be pretty smart with how they do things here. Tony Banks is going to go for a fake spike. It's going to take all day in the backfield to throw. It's another deep ball, and he finds Jamal Lewis, who's got just enough of a step to get away from Schroeder, the young defensive end, and Jamal Lewis is in the end zone for a huge receiving touchdown from the Ravens running back, man. That is crazy. It is a humongous catch. For some reason, we had a defensive lineman in coverage. I don't know how that happened, but neither him or the linebacker were fast enough to catch Jamal Lewis. So now we find ourselves trailing with just 12 seconds left to go. We need some wackiness, some Madden 2001 miracles to go our way. Achilles Smith can't connect with Chris Waller or Peter Warwick, whoever was on that side, for a catch. So with 9 seconds left to go, down to our last play or two potentially, and we find Kenny, or it's Corey Dillon, excuse me, who catches it, and we have timeout still. So we blow that one, and on our last play of the game, Achilles Smith under pressure uncorks a deep ball and finds Chris Waller, who hauls it in inside the 25-yard line, but there is a holding call, and the Ravens are going to be smart and decline this one because the clock is at 0-0. So that is going to end the ball game, and we, who led the entire game going into the fourth quarter up 10-0, find ourselves on the losing end of this one, 14-10. So it is an absolute pathetic effort from your Cincinnati Bengals here in week 1 of the season. Neither offense really rolling or clicking much at all. Very little chemistry, I guess, to speak of, but it is still us who, unfortunately, are on the losing end. So our offense was just a little bit more potent. This game was a lot more even than it maybe looked on screen. We both had the same third down percentage. We were not nearly as efficient in the red zone. If John Green had made that field goal that he missed, we still would have lost the game, so I'm not super hung up on that one either. Achilles Smith doesn't have the best season opener. The completion percentage is a little bit low, but he does throw for over 200 yards, so we can't be super mad about that. Corey Dillon has 64 yards and a touchdown in his season opener. Pretty good. Chris Waller and Peter Warwick lead the charge on our receiving core, which is exactly why they're both here. And then looking over our defensive breakdown, look at some of the names that you think may be important. No sacks, if you're paying attention to that. No one got to the quarterback. And then, of course, John Green misses. So, heading back to the hub here, we did lose our Week 2 matchup against the Seahawks, a grudge match in Seattle against the Seahawks, and in pretty convincing fashion. So, already off to an 0-2 start in what could be potentially our last season. I've said it's our last season, but, I mean, hey, if things go well, we can continue. But I just, maybe my doubts have seeped in to this series and how things have gone the last couple of years. So our approval rating is absolutely in the toilet, especially now. I think we're down to like almost a 30%. So we probably would get fired before the bye week if this was real life, if things continue. But we have an opportunity in Cleveland now on the road to potentially get things back right, as we had to travel all the way to Seattle after our game in Cincinnati and then travel all the way back to Cleveland. So a crazy road trip here. I love how the Madden scheduling kind of gets out of hand like that. The more years you get in, it starts scheduling games like that back-to-back. So another scoreless first quarter by both teams. The Browns off to a hot 2-0 start. Can't seem to get any points on this defense here early in this game. They are now facing a 3rd and 7 with just 4 minutes left to go in the first half. And Hardman, the rookie quarterback for Cleveland, is going to dot something up to Campbell, the tight end, who hauls this one inside the 10-yard line. So Cleveland, after being, I think, with Tim Couch, right? I always get Couch and Dilfer confused. I can't remember who Cleveland's been running with all these years in this game, but they finally decided that they need a new quarterback, so they have drafted Hardman right there, number 12, and he is going to be their starter, I guess, moving forward. But they still have a lot of familiar faces, like Prentice, the running back, who we were able to stop on 3rd and goal and force Cleveland to take just 3 points as Dawson knocks up a 25-yard chip shot. So Cleveland is going to take a lead here late in the first half, and they have an opportunity with the football yet again. It's a high snap for Hardman, but he still uncorks one right down the middle, and he finds an open receiver, and so now Cleveland might have an opportunity at some points here if they can manage the clock well. They're going to go with a handoff to the fullback, who goes up the left side. He's got a visor, man. Fullback with a visor, that is crazy. And he picks up a first down, but Cleveland's going to let the time roll, and they're going to bring out their kicking unit, and that is a very sketchy, very sketchy kick. Another chip shot, but that one does go in, fortunately for Cleveland. So 6-0 is going to be your score after 1 half of play here, but Cleveland again on offense, they have another opportunity. as our offense has failed to do much of pretty much anything of note in this ball game so far. It's been a consistent theme pretty much all season thus far. We only have 23 points on the year heading into week 3, so we are still desperate for any kind of offense as the third quarter comes and goes with not much to speak of. So, in the final frame of play here, it's a 2nd and 6 at about the 25-yard line for Cleveland, the Cincinnati 25-yard line, mind you. And Hardman uncorks one to Campbell right across the middle, and it is another completion for the Cleveland offense. So first and goal, it's going to be for the Browns. They're going to give it to Prentice, the running back, who's got a nice lane up the middle, and he gets into the end zone. And neither running back really cooking so far, but that is a touchdown for Prentice, one more than Corey Dillon has. So Cleveland is going to try and go for 2, I guess. Try and get to 14 points. I don't know if it really matters since their offense hasn't done much, but they are unable to complete the 2-point try. So 12-0 is going to be your score. So we need to come up with something here. And Achilles Smith dots one up to Beasley, probably receiver 3 or 4, I think. And there you see the passing breakdown. We have been able to do absolutely nothing on offense, but there's still plenty of time here. It's not like Cleveland has really put this one away. We just need to score on 2 possessions, and it is possible. There is time, especially when you have all time like Achilles Smith has to absolutely send a towering fly ball. This ain't baseball, but it feels like it, man. Peter Warrick comes down with an absolute Hail Mary of a pass to the end zone. There were several receivers and defenders in the vicinity. Achilles Smith took probably 7 or 8 seconds free in the backfield to make that decision, and he just threw it up, man. You know what? F it. Chris Waller or Peter Warrick's got to be out there somewhere, and he was right. As Peter Warrick comes down with the football, and that is going to be the first mention of any points for this Bengals offense here in Cleveland. So if you want to break this down even further, our points in Ohio, we now have 17 points in the state of Ohio in this season. That's how things have gone for us. So on a 3rd down, Cleveland's trying to run out some clock, and they are unable to get the first down. So we are going to get a final opportunity potentially with the football. Just 2 minutes left to go out of the 2-minute warning. It is 2nd and 6. Achilles Smith, plenty of good coverage up front. Another Hail Mary of a pass is sent out, and Peter Warrick comes down with it again in double coverage. And so these wing and a prayer type of balls from Achilles Smith are paying off, man, as Peter Warrick has the hands. I don't know why they couldn't be doing this all game so far, but the time is going to keep going here. We have plenty of time, but I don't think we have really many timeouts. So with 1:40 and some change here, we're going to try and get into the end zone. Achilles Smith sails that one over Peter Warrick's head out of bounds. So 2nd and 10, the time will stop. And now inside the 20 here, Smith is going to drop back, takes all day, scans over his options, and he finds Peter Warrick again, who one arm grabs it in the back of the end zone, and it is another touchdown. It is a go-ahead touchdown for the Bengals offense, down 0-12, 12-0, and they have finally thrown their hat back into the ring, and they are up 13-12, pending an extra point, but we will probably go for 2 here to try and make this at least a 3-point game, to keep Cleveland from being able to walk us off with a field goal. And just an amazing, amazing shot, man. That is thumbnail material. And if it is, don't be shocked when you see it. So on the 2-point conversion, Corey Dillon gets gobbled up in the backfield, but redirects. They couldn't make the tackle, and he finds a bit of open space and gets into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. So 15-12 is your score. Hardman has to take a hard snap, and we send the kitchen sink. And there's about 3 or 4 different Bengals who get in the backfield and get a hand on him, man. Jeez, I can't even track everyone who was in there, but everyone gets a hand on Hardman. And now it's going to be 3rd and 19. They're not even going to waste any time, man. They're going to run the hurry up and just try this one again on 3rd and 19 with a minute left to go. Hardman dropping back here, and he finds, I believe it's Northcutt across the middle who makes the catch. And it's, it gets him about a handful back, but they still have a long way to go on 4th and 15. Time is continuing to run, and Hardman stands firm in the pocket and uncorks one again, I think to Northcutt again. It is Northcutt, and so they are able to get a first down, but they are now stopped here on a 4th and 1 with 28 seconds. They're just past midfield. They're going to go with a handoff to the fullback, and they just get enough. They just barely cross it and get a first down, so they're going to extend their drive, and a timeout is going to be called with 19 seconds. They just need to get probably another 10 or 15 yards, and they could try for the field goal here, but they got to be smart and efficient here. And Hardman, with pressure in his face, uncorks one to Northcutt, who cannot haul it in. He was in a mess of traffic, so 15 seconds now left to go, 2nd and 10. Cleveland has to be very, very smart with how they call their plays. Hardman under pressure again, and he throws a pick to Takeo Spikes. And it looks like Campbell, man, I got a little bit handsy trying to dive for the football, so that's going to be offensive pass interference, Madden 01 wackiness. But regardless, that is going to ice the game, and Takeo Spikes gets himself his 7th career interception, or potentially his 8th, I guess, to close out this game. We get our first win of the season in Cleveland against one of our bitter rivals, just of all time. AFC Central be damned, AFC North, AFC Central, one of our bitter rivals. We managed to hand Cleveland their first loss of the year and finally get ourselves back into the ring with a win after 2 pretty abysmal weeks. And if you look at the breakdown, man, we do not deserve to win this game. We didn't complete a single 3rd down. Cleveland's offense completely outplayed us. Just nuts, man. It is crazy that we even managed to win this game, man. But those are the type of wins we've got to have, you know what I mean? Like, both Baltimore and Cleveland's games, those were games that we could not really, afford to lose. Those are the types of situations you want to be in to win those tough, grudgy type games, and we were only really able to do it against Cleveland. So, if we could do it to more teams this year, then we could potentially get back to, the 9-7, 10-6, and 11-5 of the world. 11 and 5s of the world, but otherwise things are going to be pretty rough. So Peter Warrick is the absolute class of our receiving core. Chris Waller is nowhere to speak of. I'm pretty sure he's still healthy. I think he was still on the field. I just don't think our offense was able to do much of anything. I think it was just Peter Warrick's world, and we were all living in it. So that is fine by me as long as everyone is still healthy and still on the field. But we are going to get out of here and bring an end to this video. In the next video, we will cover the next couple games. Not a lot is happening in these games, so I've been able to stuff about 2 games per video now, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. But in the next episode, we will cover more of Year 6, potentially our last year.